everyone, welcome back to my channel. If we haven't already met, then my name is Ash and I've got two kids. I've got Ella who is 2 and I've also got Charlie who is 6 months old. I am going to be doing a Q&A, so hopefully you will get to know me a little bit better. But before I start that, I'm going to tell you all about a new competition that's launched within Channel Mum. If you don't know what Channel Mum is, it's an online community of like-minded mums. We post about every kind of parenting topic you can wish for. You don't need to be a mum to follow Channel Mum. They do lots of fun, exciting videos that even people without children would like to watch. So you just need to go and subscribe to Channel Mum, enter the competition by filling out the form. I'll leave a little link to that in the description box below, and that will enter you into their competition to win either a £50 Primark voucher, a £50 Lush voucher, or a £50 Boots voucher, which I'm sure you would agree, you don't need to be a mum to win any of those things. Everyone can use Boots, Lush and also Primark. So as you know, I started with Channel Mum just about maybe April or May this year, and I've absolutely loved being part of the community. I've done some Facebook Lives with them, which has been really fun, and it's a great way to learn about other mums' routines and different tips and tricks that other mums use. If you go on the Channel Mum website, you'll find lots of different videos on literally every single parenting topic you could think of. There's also hauls on there, beauty tips, house cleaning tips. There's just everything you could imagine, so definitely go and check out the Channel Mum website. You will also probably find some other YouTubers who are like my kind of videos in my channel as well, so if you like my videos then you will find a whole stack of other vloggers out there that you might love to go and watch too. So as I say, I will leave a link to all of those details in the description box below. The competition is running from the start of August, so it will already have run for a week before this video goes out, and it will go right through until the end of August, with you getting a chance to win something every single week. So definitely go and check it out, enter the competition. You've got absolutely nothing to lose, and all you have to do is subscribe and fill out the form that I'll leave in the box below. I put it out on Instagram to ask you guys if you've got any questions. I do get asked to do a Q&A video quite a lot, but then I don't have any questions, and I noticed that I have had a build up of questions that have been coming in recently, and it's kind of the same things that I'm getting asked over and over, so I've tried to club these together in sort of bundles of the same question, so hopefully I don't repeat myself too much. I'm hoping to get all this done in one video, but there are quite a few questions, and knowing me, I will ramble on and go off on a tangent, so hopefully that doesn't happen too badly. I'd like it to get into one take, but it might be two. So let's just start with some of the questions that I have. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, it's just at Mama Reid Writes. I'll leave a link to that as well, so you can go and follow me there. Okay, so this was a really common question, and that is, how long have you and Fraser been together? But before that, there's another question that I've been asked, and that is, how did you meet? So I'll start with that first. So Fraser and I met through my mum. She basically set us up. Fraser started doing a sort of placement within my mum's work, and my mum had pictures from my birthday that just happened. I think it was my 16th birthday, and Fraser is just a year older than me, and he's seen the pictures and he thought she's quite nice, so he told one of the other ladies that worked in my mum's work that he quite liked me, and she said, I think that you'd be quite a nice match. So Fraser went home and got a picture of him to give to my mum to bring home to me so that we could see each other, and then I seen him, he was wearing a kilt at a wedding in this picture, and he then contacted me on Bebo, which I'm sure everyone knows what Bebo is. Hopefully that's not too old and people don't know what I'm talking about, but it's basically like the old Facebook. Fraser contacted me on there, and then one day he picked me up from school because he could drive at the time, which was really cool. I thought this was amazing, a guy coming and picking me up from school because he'd just passed his driving test. And then basically the rest is history. We kind of really hit it off, and we were together for about 2 years, and we went on holiday. He treated me really well. We got on really great, and I think that at that point we realised that it was quite serious, and obviously we were still very young, and I don't know if that maybe freaked us out a little bit, but we decided to break up, and I never seen Fraser for about 2 years, which is quite odd considering how close our families actually live together. We only lived like maybe 10 minutes apart, and I never seen Fraser for all that time. And then one day his mum and my mum were in Asda shopping and sort of bumped trolleys into one another, having not seen each other in 2 years or spoken or anything like it, and they basically both said that Fraser's never met anyone as nice as Ash, and Ash hasn't met anyone as nice as Fraser, and blah blah blah. And then mum came home and she told me all about it, and I just decided to text Fraser. When I realised I never had his number, I told my mum, and she said, well, I've still got his number, because she used to always compare all of my boyfriends in that time. All of my boyfriends, that sounds as if I had loads, but she used to always compare all the guys that I had been seeing or texting or going on dates with to Fraser. She would say that person or Fraser, this person or Fraser, and I would always say Fraser was better every single time. So she gave me his number, I texted him. At this point I'm now like 2 years older, I was at uni, I was driving, had grown up a lot, obviously not as much as now, but I definitely wasn't as immature as the 16-year-old me that had seen him before. And we met up, we went for a Costa, he tried to give me a kiss as we leave and I just gave him the cheek, so he always slags me about that. But yeah, after that, the rest is history. We then moved in together after about 4 weeks. I was about 19 at the time. And then we bought a flat, literally the flat that we'd moved into. It was my dad's flat, so we bought it from my dad. And yeah, the rest is history. So we've been together since we got back together for about 5, no, that's not right. Let me work this out. Yeah, 5 years. It'll be about 5 or 6 years we've been back together. But if you add it in total, we've actually been together since I was 16 with a break in between. So yeah, it wasn't as much as 2 years, it was about 1.5 years break in between seeing each other. But I think that's the break we needed just to realise that the grass wasn't greener and it was definitely meant to be that we were supposed to be together. The next question is, I think I read on the account, beautiful mixed kids, your children are part Burmese. Is that correct? And which of your husband or your heritage does that come from? But Fraser's dad's half Burmese and you can really tell he's got lovely dark skin, really dark kind of olive skin, and he's got dark hair and he's got really brown eyes, and yeah, you can definitely tell that Fraser's dad has got some sort of heritage, and I think it's kind of skipped a generation. Fraser's brother's really tanned and kind of has the skin tone of his dad but looks like his mum, and Fraser's got the skin tone of his mum but looks like his dad. So they've kind of had a cross there. And then Fraser's brother's children are really fair, and then we had Ella and she was so dark. It was such a shock because Fraser's family's grandchildren have got such light hair and light skin, and then my brother's little boy is again really fair. So when we had Ella and she had really dark hair and she was so tanned, everyone was really shocked because we think that the Burmese sort of genes or the heritage have kind of skipped a generation, and Ella got the lovely dark skin, the dark eyes and the dark hair. My brother's also got brown eyes as well, so it might have kind of come from our side too. And yeah, she really looks like me when I was younger. I think when you look at her now, she does look like me, but she's very like Fraser. But when you look at pictures of me when I was 3, I might actually try and link this into the video because we are very, very alike. Ella and my nephew Jack, which is my brother's little boy, are basically my brother and I when we were that age. And there is exactly probably the same age difference. There's like 3 or 4 years between Jack and Ella, and there's about 3 years between my brother and I. So it's literally like a mini me and a mini Chris. So I'll show you a picture of that, hopefully I can link it into the video so you can see it. But yeah, Fraser's side has the Burmese heritage. So she's basically like an 1/8 Burmese, would that be right? Because Fraser's probably about a 1/4. I would really love to do one of those ancestry tests. I seen that Emily Norris did one and she found out that she was all different nationalities within her sort of background. I would really love to do that for my kids, not really for me. I think I might just be basic Scottish, maybe some Irish. But I definitely think that the kids have got so much heritage, especially Fraser's mum's side, because I'm sure there's some Russian links there as well. I think our kids are a kind of combination of different nationalities, and I would really love to know exactly what it is. So another question I've been asked is about tattoos. When I'm wearing clothing, you would just never know, but I've got 3 really big tattoos. On the side of my body, on my ribs, I've got a huge big dream catcher. I got that when I was on holiday with my mum and dad. And it's got a little F inside it, so Fraser's kind of incorporated in it. On my leg I've got a garland of flowers, and there's 3 cherry blossoms because that's kind of my favourite flower at the time. I love loads of different flowers, but I really like cherry blossoms, and I've got 3 flowers there to symbolise my mum, my dad and my brother. And it's all tied up at the back with a big bow just to symbolise unity. And on my back I've got a Celtic never-ending circle, and all of my family have got that, so my mum and my dad have both got it. My mum's got it in the same place as me, which is on my lower back. And my dad and my brother have also got it in between their shoulder blades. My dad's got Karen, Chris and Ash on his, like round the sort of shape of the triangle. And my brother's got Mum, Dad and Ash. We don't have the names, my mum and I, because we're not that committed. But my brother and my dad have both got all of our names on it. So it's nice that we are all branded as the same family. So that's the reason why I have all my tattoos. Okay, so another question that I've been asked quite a lot is, was it hard to get into a routine with both kids when you had Charlie, or did you just kind of go with the flow? I think with Ella, I was quite go with the flow in terms of when we went out. I wanted her to fit into our routine when she was small. But in saying that, in terms of her sleeping, it didn't really matter where we were. I didn't really mind if we were out at my mum's or at a friend's house. I would put her to sleep on me, or put her down in the pram, or I would put her up in a cot. So in terms of being out and about, I wasn't really strict on she's got to be in her own bed. But in terms of when she actually went to sleep, I was quite strict. I was kind of in a routine that she would get up in the morning, and then 2 hours later would go for a nap, and then we'd be up for lunch, and then we'd go for a nap. Then she would get her lunch and her dinner, and then go for another nap. And she would always be in her bed or sleeping wherever we were at 8 o'clock. So whether that meant we were at a friend's house, I would just take a travel cot with us, or put her in a buggy, or have her lying on me going for a nap. And I feel like even more so with Charlie, I'm even more relaxed, and he kind of feeds off of my relaxed vibe, I think. So when we're out, for example this afternoon, it's his nap time, but we were out for lunch, and I just held on to him. He fell asleep in my arms, and that was him. He was quite happy, and now he's up sleeping in his bed. So I think that I'm really relaxed, but I think that I'm very organised in comparison to just having one kid. As much as I don't have a specific routine, I think that I always try and make sure that they're sleeping. No matter where we are, they do get their sleep, because it's half the battle. If they're not tired and they're not cranky, then it really makes such a difference. And things like trying to even think about what they're wearing the next day, even if it means I'm not physically looking it out, I like to try and have an idea that they've got an outfit planned for the next day. I've washed my hair the night before. It's more trying to get me ready, because they can kind of just go along with me. But yeah, I like to try and have the bag packed. Apart from things like grabbing nappies, I always have 2 bags packed. I always have their clothes ready, and yeah, I always try and make sure that we're stocked up in snacks and things like that. But in terms of a physical routine, I try and make sure that we have dinner roughly about 6 o'clock. Once they've had that, we normally clear up and let them have some downtime, and then we get bathed, and normally by that point it's about 7:30, and they usually get to their bed about 8. So in terms of a routine at night time, that's what we do. In the morning, I try my hardest. I've kind of fell away from it recently because Fraser's been off on annual leave, but I try to get up before they do and get myself ready. So you'll see that in my morning routine video, which I'm going to do an updated version of, because it has changed now that Charlie's not so newborn. So I'll leave a link to that just so you can go and watch my morning routine video. But yeah, I do feel like I try to get in a routine with them, but then I realise that they're not actually as difficult as maybe some other children might be in the morning or at night. I think as well, because of the age Ella's at, she's so interested in Charlie that she actually makes things easier. So when it comes to bath time and that time of night, I know a lot of mums say that that's a really difficult time of the evening. All their kids are cranky and they're just ready for a sleep. But I actually think that at night time it's easier with them, because they're so tired and they're winding down, and they're just ready to go and have a splash about together, and then ready to get into their pyjamas and then get bottles and then go to bed. So I don't think that I've got into a really specific routine with them, but all I would say is I do make sure they nap at specific times of the day, and it does make things a lot easier. But another question I've just been asked is, how do I stay body confident? This is quite a difficult question, because I would say since I've had both kids, I'm not as confident as what I was before, even though I actually weigh less now than what I did before having kids. But I suppose it's just because it's went through such a massive change, and I'm very aware of what I've actually put on myself now. So I would say the way I try to stay body confident is by wearing things that actually feel comfortable on me. So instead of wearing low-rise jeans, I'll always wear high-waisted jeans or floaty tops, or things that I feel like aren't going to make me feel like I'm drawing attention to my figure. So yeah, I definitely have a sort of staple look for every day. It's normally high-waisted jeans and floaty tops or floaty blouses, and when I go on nights out, I tend to wear sort of like A-line shaped dresses. Not that I have lots of nights out, but I don't tend to wear really clingy clothes, because I think it just makes me feel like I'm not as confident. Definitely think getting confidence in what you're wearing makes a huge difference, and that doesn't mean you need to go and spend lots of money. As you guys know, I constantly shop in Primark, Matalan, even Zara's really reasonably priced if you go for their basic collection and not Zara Women. I would definitely say invest in what you're wearing, feel confident. Also, just a little bit of new makeup, a new lipstick, things like that make me feel a whole lot better. Obviously, I would like to be dieting a little bit more for the wedding coming up next year. I also think that you need to live a little, so if it's involving going for a coffee and a cake with my mum to have a nice afternoon, I'm not going to stress myself out about it, because I know that in the long run, those are the memories that I'm going to cherish more than remembering I was a size 10. So another question is, how did I lose all the baby weight? I didn't specifically try and lose baby weight. I think that maybe just being more active, lack of sleep, and also the fact that every single thing I go to put in my mouth Ella wants, or Charlie now wants. I think that makes a huge difference, the fact that I'm having to share all my food. Plus, I don't really have a point of the day apart from night time that I'm really bored. I think before I had kids, I used to get bored quite a lot, and I said this to Fraser recently. I can't remember the last time that I was actually bored and wanted something to do. Because you've got the kids, you're always got something to do, and they're always asking you questions, or you're always having to tend to Charlie, or tend to Ella, or tend to the house. Or the point of the day where you don't have anything to do, all you want to do is sit down and watch TV, or chill, or chat to Fraser, or have dinner. So yeah, I think that I've just not got as much time to snack the way I used to. I know that actually has the adverse effect for people sometimes, and it means that you just constantly binge on junk. But I think that because I've always got my hands full, and especially if I'm feeding Charlie or I'm feeding Ella or anything like that, I've just not got as much time as what I did do before to sit and constantly have snacks and things like that. Breastfeeding's also accounted for a lot of the weight loss and sort of tightening up of my tummy again. But I do think a lot of the reason why I've lost weight is just because I'm so busy all the time. I'm always active. I hardly ever sit down until I do something like this, or I'm sitting at night time with Fraser. So yeah, I think the reason why I've lost a little bit of weight is just because I've got 2 kids, I'm constantly active, and I'm always running about. This is a really good question, and it is, how do I discipline Ella when I'm out in public? It's a really tricky one, because especially when they do something really wrong. Like Ella went through a phase there where I know a lot of you won't believe it, but she would be biting quite a lot, and it was a frustration thing. She would just get herself so worked up, and if I was holding her, she would turn around and bite my arm, or she would bite herself. And I know this is just a stage thing, so it didn't really concern me too much, because it is a sort of 2-year-old sort of stage that some kids go through, and it's sort of biting. She wasn't really doing it as much to other people, it was more just to me or Fraser or herself. I don't think she's ever bitten my mum before or anything like that when she's been watched. She's bitten my nephews a couple of times, but yeah, I think they all go through this phase. She's been bitten also by one of our nephews. It's just something kids do sometimes, and I try not to get too worked up about it, but she does need to learn that's completely wrong. And when you're out in public, it is really difficult to give them into trouble without constantly nagging at them. And as much as I'm kind of the opinion I don't really care what other people think, of course you don't want people thinking you're shouting at a 2-year-old. It just doesn't seem very fair, especially when they don't know the backstory, if they've been constantly being naughty all day. I must admit, Ella is quite a good kid. She isn't really naughty, but sometimes she has her moments, especially when we come back from her holiday. She was really testing the water and pushing boundaries. But I've actually recently, literally within maybe the last few days, if I tell her to take big deep breaths, she actually does it. So she can be hysterically crying, and I'll just say to her, take a big deep breath, and she just sits and breathes in and out, and it really calms her down again. I think as well, I also do this scaremongering thing of someone's going to come and get her. So I know they say that you shouldn't really do that, but it does work. We tell her that Maggie Murphy's going to come and get her. I think this might be a Scottish thing, but Maggie Murphy is like a scary lady. If you don't behave, Maggie Murphy will come and get you, and she kind of takes that on. She also chaps the wall, so she knows that that's us that are doing it. She chaps the wall and says Maggie Murphy's chapping the door. So yeah, things like that really work. I'd also say that just staying calm and remembering that it's not a bad day, it's just a bad 5 minutes. I think you need to remember that kids are so resilient. They can be a bad mood one minute and then be in a good mood the next. So try not let it get to you. It's really difficult, but the calmer you stay, the better mood you'll be in, and it'll probably rub off on them as well. So I started to edit this video, and I did not realise how much I can talk. Seriously, it's lasted for about 30 or 40 minutes. So what I'm going to do is split it into 2 halves. This will be part 1, and part 2 will be coming shortly. So I hope you enjoyed watching so far, and I'll see you in part 2. Bye!